You ever look at the processing of emotion as a digestive process? And I say that to mean, I was thinking today and it hit me, right? And I don't know, my brain was just trying to put together this information out of nowhere. So I don't know. I'll give it to y'all and y'all do something with it. So I was just thinking, like, when emotions happen, we receive them in and we have to process them. But nobody actually knows, nobody knows and nobody can actually say whether or not this breakup is going to take me longer to get over than the last one. Or am I going to be angry? Is it going to take me longer to heal from losing my job that I had 3 years? Or losing my girl that I had 6 months? Am I going to be able to handle the emotion and adapt well to becoming a family man or father? Or am I going to have, say, an easier time, say, moving in with a girlfriend and adapting to that? And then in that process, because there's a lot going on, it's not only like these situations, like there's other things that happen that won't allow other things to happen. Like, I'll notice with veganism and anything else it is that I do, that if you try and implement a new plan for an individual that involves self-improvement or moving forward in their life, you have to pay attention to, and this is where everybody can catch up and we can all be on the same page. You have to catch up and you have to be on the same page with their emotional baggage. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't push them past the threshold of their emotional baggage. Some people just have emotional baggage. And when I say this, let's keep the analogy of digestion here, because when I'm saying baggage, let's just look at this as digestion. Let's just look at this as the system is backed up. We say baggage, but the emotional system is backed up. Now we know we have different, we have physical and you have emotional, you understand, and you have different elements of your body. All of these different elements of your body in different facets, they all have a digestive process that you go through, everything, even with spirituality. It's like, oh, I'm here, oh, you're asleep, oh, I'm conscious, unconscious, subconscious, everything has levels to it. And same with the emotions. It's like there's a certain stage where you need to digest things, and everything digests at a different level and a different rate. And I'm starting to realize that, and this is all coming out now. I can't really make sense of it. I'm making sense of it as I'm speaking right now. But as time goes on and you deal with more emotions and you start to understand yourself more and the situation as a whole, you can repair yourself faster. Because I've been in a lot of relationships, and a lot of people have been in a lot of relationships. On one end, it's not good. It's not good because you kind of develop trust and you develop trust and instability issues, but at the same time, you become way smarter, way stronger. You know exactly what you want. You know what you don't want. And that right there in these relationships, as far as, emotional digestion and the training, teaches you more about yourself and certain situations and how to recover from them. Okay? And it's natural. Okay? Somebody that's been in, and people can even tell you, if you've been in like one or two relationships, like, oh, I was in a relationship for like 7 or 8 years with this one guy. And before him, I was with this other guy for 2 months. And you just be like, okay, basically, you've been in one relationship. And you can just basically look at them like a rookie, because that's the equivalent of looking at a boxer. And this guy's been in 2 or 3 fights, and you've been in 47. And that's the equivalent of that. Okay? Who's going to know how to train better for certain fighters? Who's going to repair better after each fight? You get what I'm saying? Who's going to have the better preparation? Who's going to get in a fight and know whether or not this is going to last or not? You know, am I going to knock this out in the first round, or is this going to go the distance? You know, and so it comes like that with emotions and the emotional energy that we take on in our life. And at some point we have to understand this and learn that we need to take the time to digest these emotions. And if there's somebody else on the other spectrum that is dealing with these emotions at the current moment, we need to understand that we either need to put ourselves in a situation and assess the moment and go, okay, I can go with them through this emotion. I can go with them on this journey. I can help them through this journey. We can make it through this journey. Or you got to go, they're going to have to do this journey alone. This journey is for them. This journey is not for me. This journey right here might end up ruining the relationship we already have. You understand? And some people have been in situations like that. You've been in a situation where you're just like, I don't even know if I should do that. I don't know if I should do that because this person is dealing with this and they're dealing with that. And I know they need me to do this and support for that. But if this doesn't go this way and this doesn't support that way, that can just ruin what we already have set up here. So I'd rather not even go that route and just keep what it is we have here. And a lot of times, sometimes in the beginning, at that moment, people don't like your decision. But don't worry about that. Think about the future. You know, think about the future. You know what I'm saying? And foresight comes into it when you think about emotions, digesting emotions and emotional baggage. Like, if you're dealing with an individual that has emotions from a childhood where, say, they were molested or something like that, you have to be aware of that emotion. That's an emotional baggage. A lot of people carry that throughout their entire life. You have to be aware of that emotional baggage. If you have somebody that was abused throughout their entire life, you have to be privy to that, whether it was like mental abuse or abuse by their parents. There are people that was, and I'll tell you something right now, we can heal faster from physical abuse than we can heal from mental abuse. Mental abuse will really hit you hard, and it's hard to dig yourself out of that hole. It's really hard. And when you come across somebody that doesn't understand this emotional baggage that you're having, it makes you even harder to hurdle over that. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of times, too, you got to give people the modality. You have to open up the door so that they can share and open up that peace with themselves, so that the door's open, so that you two can work on it, or at least they know that you have this baggage and you can continue to work on it and you don't have to suffocate it. Because sometimes some people will have issues that they're dealing with, and somebody will come in their life and they won't let this individual know about this emotional baggage that they have because they don't want to mess up the situation. And then the situation start going good, and then everything's going good, and this, that, and the third, and you think you know this person, everything's good, and then boom, you get hit with that, and you're just like, whoa, why didn't you just tell me about this before? Maybe we could have worked on this, and all right, now we got to we step back. All right, hold on a second, because I didn't know this, and I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. And those are the situations that we get ourselves into because we are trying to, say, appease the other person instead of dealing with our emotional baggage. And that's why I said a thing to do is to open the door, open the door. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a female or something like that that's in a certain situation. And honestly, sometimes you have to crack the egg. Sometimes you got to burst your bubble. Sometimes you're flying on cloud 9. But you know what I'm saying? You don't want to crash. You don't want to crash. You know what I'm saying? And so you just got to open some doors and, hey, what about this, that, and the third? You have to be privy to certain situations. But, we never kind of really do this, that, and the third. Why don't we ever, you never really said anything about this, that, and the third. Why haven't you ever said anything about this? Open the door, Open Open the door, you know? Oh, it always seems like you always this, that, and the third, and it always seems to affect this. Is there something we can... You have to open the door to it, you know? If they got an issue about it and you may see they lucky and they're like, oh, ha, 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 and they chuckle about something like, oh, I might be a little bipolar or crazy, or they chuckle and they say, yeah, I used to see a psychiatrist for this because they said I was a little this and psychotic, and I had little episodes when I was... No. Don't glaze over it and just leave it sitting there. It was brought into the situation for a reason. So delve into it and bring it up. That's just the situation. You have to delve into it and you have to bring it up, because 1, it'll bring you two closer, and 2, it'll give you more of an understanding, and 3, it'll tell you where there's chartered territory that's very, very sensitive, and it'll tell you where not to step. You know, it'll tell you where not to step, where not to, step on things. You know, we all have soft, sensitive areas. We have nice areas. You know, everybody has it. You know, no matter what kind of area you are, if you could be the biggest mansion, the biggest compound, the greatest security place anywhere. Everything has something that is nice and sensitive and should not be, dealt with like the rest of the area. And sometimes we need to expose that to the other person so that they know, instead of them stumbling on it like a trap and a booby trap and it's going boom and they stumble on it and you're just like, oh, I didn't want you to know about that. And it's just like, oh, well, what is this doing here? Why didn't you tell me about this? And then, you're running into each other. So the emotional issues that a lot of us have got to start to be processed and digested. And the first thing we have to do in order to get that going is we have to immediately address them. We have to look at them. We have to stop acting like they're not there. We got to talk about them. You know what I'm saying? Every last single one of them, we got to talk about them. It's extremely important. All right? When I talk to a female and I meet her, the first thing I'm talking about is I'm talking about family. I'm talking about family issues. I'm talking about molestation. I'm talking about rape. I'm talking about abortions. I'm going down the entire list. Okay, we need to talk about the stuff that matters. All right, we'll get to the fluff another time. It'll get fluffy. There'll be rainbows and unicorns. We'll hold hands. We can walk out into the sunset. All right, but first, let's figure out what's in this dark ass fucking closet, because what's gonna happen is, while we're on that walk to that sunset, we're gonna trip, fall in the hole, and there's just gonna be a bunch of dark skeletons in there. And we're gonna be in that situation where both people just go, oh, and then you remember, and it goes like this: about this person, this was happening, this was good, and this was wonderful, and this was going boom, and then we bumped into this person, and then this happened. And then after that happened, I had to tell him about this situation where this happened and that happened and this happened, and then he lost custody and that happened, and I went to jail and he went to jail and I had him go to jail and this, that, and the third, and then we went to court and this, that, and the third, and everything. And now you're sitting there and you're just like, and it's just and the thing is, this is the thing, because if you say watch this video, you could easily say, hey man, I don't feel like you can go into every relationship and just air out all your dirty laundry and this, that, and that. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But if you are still dealing with something that is going to affect the relationship in the future and that person or the outcome of it, you have got to take it on yourself and take the risk to do something early on, or do something to alleviate that problem and bring it to the forefront. You can't just let it sit there and fester and act like it doesn't exist and just play Russian roulette with it. That's basically what I'm saying. Okay? All right? We all have emotions and we all digest them differently. And we've all been out here in these relationships, and some of us recover faster, some of us recover slower. But if we are not healed yet, if we are still wounded, if we are still hurt, it is very important to tell the other person, I'm still hurt from this, so if you do this, I'm going to have an issue. If you do this and I don't get a call back, I'm going to think you're doing this. Because in my last relationship, when this happened, this person was doing this. If you do this and this doesn't happen, I'm going to be under the impression that you don't care. Because when I was in my last relationship, it got to the point where this person started doing this, stopped doing that. And you know what? It ended up being because they didn't care. And that's because of what they did. And because of that, that's why I think you're doing the same exact thing. And that's how we think. There's no way to get around it. That's just the way it is. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to open that up. You have to bring that to the forefront. And you have to make that a necessary piece of being open, so that you can actually give yourself a chance to actually have a future. You know, a lot of us don't do this because we're so used to things falling apart in the first couple of months. We just go, you know what, let me just enjoy these couple of months, and whatever happens kind of happens. And if it falls apart, it falls apart, because this is what always happens. I'm trained for this. So if it falls apart, fine, I'll just pick myself back up again, and I'll just do this all over again, and you don't have to go through that process. You don't have to go through that. You can stop the reoccurring cyclic process of, you know, going into broken relationships broken, you know, by going in and starting a healing process, instead of just going in and, you know, you got an arm in a sling, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what's up, baby? How you doing? And she over here with her crutches, like, hey, how you doing? But, you know, you got your sling with your golden, you know, your sling is all nice and golden, matching with the Nike symbol on it, you know, and her crutch, you know, her crutch is going down with this nice glitter and sparkles on it, and y'all just looking and smiling, and y'all don't really even care about nothing there. Y'all don't care about nothing. And everything's going fine, and she ain't talking about her crutch. You ain't talking about your sling until, you know, it's time for y'all to get together and try and do something together, and y'all can't get there because, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about this. Oh yeah, my bad, baby. I'd like to help you, but I can't, you know, because and you know, that's what I'm getting at here. You know what I'm saying? We kind of need to nip those little things in the bud before we, you know, sail off on that ship. Okay? So, pay attention to the emotions of everybody. Everyone, pay very, very close attention. Ask the necessary questions, even the scary questions, alright? Ask the scary questions. If you don't ask the scary questions, you will end up hurt. A lot of people are with people right now, and those people are still in love with other people. You should have asked, you know? You should have asked, hey, am I here for a future? Am I here, you know, as a replacement? You know, am I a stand-in, or, you know, or something happened? You know, these questions are important, and we don't ask them because we don't want to feel less than, or most of us are scared of the answer. We're scared of the truth. Ask for the truth, you know? Ask for it. You know, it makes things easier. You know, less hurt, less pain, more healing. Later.